and welcome to another live demonstration. Today is something slightly different. We have a studio audience. Say hi. Hi. So that's a first for me. And the demonstration is going to be in two parts. So something new for both me and Gary, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do, this is Harriet, my friend's daughter, and she's got a really lovely descriptive face, and her eyes are really big, and they're actually a better colour than in the photograph. So I'm going to bring out the greens and the yellows that actually are in her eyes. And so I was deciding what medium to use, and I was looking at charcoal. So a good traditional charcoal is lovely. It's got lots of tones and values just from the charcoal. But I was also thinking I want it to be a little bit more controlled. So I was looking at different charcoal pencils. So the first ones I looked at were the Derwent, and they have medium, dark and light. And I kind of wondered, really, what does that mean? So I have tested them like you would do with any medium. And actually, it's very easy to see. So the light goes on nicely, actually feels very like a charcoal, but you have that little bit more control in a pencil form. So that's your light, medium. And I don't know if you can see that, but you've got that slightly darker tone. And look at the dark. So actually you can see light, medium and dark. So it really answers the question. And then just see how much do they move. So they actually move very well. Again, it's paper dependent. But you do see some of the lines. So they won't be as soft as a charcoal pencil. Charcoal, sorry. They've obviously got some binding to keep it able to be sharpened to a point. So while I was doing that, I also tried, you know, what does a pastel pencil, a black pastel, how different does that look? And actually it doesn't look that different. You can feel it slightly. It's not as soft as the charcoal. And then this one, and the reason why it's oddly sharpened is the others I've been able to sharpen with a sharpener. This one I had a lot of trouble, so it's obviously very soft core. And this is the Pitt Charcoal Soft, and it really is soft. But look how much darker that is compared to others. And look, even when I blend it, it keeps that rich darkness. So I'm not sure which ones I'll use. I'm just having to clean my fingers because I'm going to get them everywhere. But I'm glad I tested and found out that actually, for me, I'm going to use the dark. Let me just move these out the way so I don't pick up the wrong one, because I think that will give me that darkness that I look for and the values that I'm also looking for. So I've sketched down, making sure I've got the nose, the eyes and the mouth in the right place. I've still got the picture in front of me, so it doesn't really matter if I lose some of these lines. Using crystal paper, because chances are it's going to go everywhere and I'll have it all over my face, and people will not tell me. I think I had yellow and green on my face the other day, and it was only when I got home I had a big stripe, but no one had told me this. So the crystal paper is great because it will help me protect the charcoal at the end, but I can use it to lean on and try not to smudge. So I've got the original image in colour, but I've also done a black and white one, which I manipulated slightly, using a Photoshop kind of tool on the computer, just to give me stronger tonal contrasts, because it makes it easier for me to be able to see what I need to do when I'm sketching. What I'm also going to do is, because she's got lovely coloured eyes, apparently they were a lot greener a few weeks ago, but they've started to hazel over. I'm going to do the eyes in coloured pencil. So I've chosen the Pro Colour, mainly because it had the full set. And so I had the colours I was looking for. But the Pro Colour are nice, oil-based, creamy coloured pencil. It gives me that layering ability. I'm going to put a lot more colour in than I can see on here. I think the eyes I want to be the focal point. Black. So the coloured eyes and the rest will be done in charcoal. And like I say, it's a 2-part session, so we'll see how far we go in this session, and I can finish it off a little later. The light is bouncing off, so I can't actually see. I just want to bring out the dark, and I'm not going to put my dark tones in yet. Just making sure I have the pupil. So she's looking at the camera, so the pupil's quite small. And unlike a cat, it's round. So all these things, we know the human pupil is round, but if you look at a cat, you can have that slit pupil. But on the bigger cats, and I think I've mentioned this before, you've got round eyes. They have the round pupil. So bigger cats have the round pupil. So it's things just to notice when you're doing features like this, because you can get it wrong. So all I'm doing is, I'm not overly thinking about the colour at the moment. I'm just making sure I'm able to keep the shape. That eye's gone a slightly odd shape. I can fix it. I'm not too bothered with this. Okay, so start off with my lightest colour, which will be... Now, if you look at these two ends, they look very similar, so I will often make sure I'm looking at the tips in order to make sure I pick up the colour I'm looking for. And again, I'm not overly worried where I put colour in. This is the fun bit. People don't see the original, so you have a lot of chance to create your own colours, create your own tones. What I am going to do is be a little bit more careful with the colour than I was when I did it first time, because I think I put too much colour on and lost some of the quality, and I want to bring out the green brownness in her eyes, but I think it ended up very dark. Just picking up colour, and I'm not actually overly thinking about which colour I'm picking up. The colours I've chosen are colours that will work, so I don't need to overly think about. What I am looking at is tonal values. So before I do that, I'm going to just bring out the shape of the eye, and this is where I do need to get it right, because the shape of the eye on a face, it can be millimetres that you need to make sure that it is in the right. So you literally, if it doesn't look right, it can be just a millimetre change to get it looking right. And of course with children's eyes, she's got these wonderful big. So even though I've sketched it down, I'm still using the original just to make sure I'm looking at where the darks and lights are. The studio lights are bouncing off the picture, so I'm having to move my head around. Right. So the middle bit of the eye, it's not that white, which is great, so I've got lots of colour I can put in there. I can see pinks and blues. Right, let's start bring up the pupil. I mean, you can do it lots of different ways. You can start off with the colour first and then bring the light in. I like to jump around. It's just something I tend to do. What colour is this? Burnt carmine. I think I might be being a bit too slow and gentle. I'm overthinking it. The reason being is because I don't want to lose the beautiful colours I had in originally, which I did when I did it last time. think I need to just be a bit braver with my colours, else we'll never get through any of the other bits of it. Okay, let's put it in. So she hasn't got green eyes, she's got more hazel eyes, but I think the green base is going to just give me that lovely ping of colour. These are great pencils, they're able to layer and just bring out the lots of different colours. Let's bring some out in here. And you'll notice I'm also radiating from the middle, which if you look at an eye, you'll see the lines that come from the middle of the eye. So if you just follow the direction, there are other ones which crisscross, which again, blue grey, that's why it's not strong enough. I wondered where all my pencils were, they're all in my hand. So let's just go back. For me, if the eye isn't quite, the pupil in the eye isn't there, it just doesn't give me that carrot to start with. So I know some people leave the pupil to the end, but for me, I just like the focal point. It gives them the character, then you can kind of see where you're going here from. So let's just start to build up a little bit of shadow. So there'll be shadow across the top of the eye here, where the eyelids are and the eyelashes. And I can always go back when I start to do other bits and maybe I'm feeling it doesn't work, I can go back. So nothing is ever the end, it's always just, I think the only time you ever really finish with something is when it's out of your hands and it's with somebody else. Because otherwise you'll go, oh, I'll just, oh yes, have a little fix of this. Right, don't like this red bit here. Let's even up her eyes. And I'm doing this quite slowly because I think these are a really nice feature. What colour is this? Nutmeg. Okay, let's bring out a little bit more hazel. And you'll notice as I'm doing one, I'm doing the other. It just helps keep that balance. Where's the grey? There. So grey into the eye. Blue, yeah. This is storm grey. Should really have a blue, but I can pick that up in a minute. The rest of it will come together quite quick because charcoal's quite a quick medium. Just looking. Now I'm not going to be using any other colour other than in the eye, so just don't understand this. So let me. I'm going to go for the eyelashes and start to darken. Now you can't see her eyelashes because she's still got quite short ones, or they're at an angle that I can't see them, but I'm going to just bring them out a little bit more than you can see. The reason being is it will just bring that eye to life. So I think her eyelashes are just, they're here, they're facing forward. So it's not giving you that really long lash look. So what I'm going to do is just alter it slightly. And what I'm also having to do is just think about the direction of the eyelash and not keep them all to the same. I'm just darkening this a little bit more. It's not the right shape. Let's change that. Okay. I don't want to give her too long eyelash because she's still a small child. But I don't think, you know, when we fiddle with our eyes, put a mascara on, we control them a little bit. Those aren't controlled, obviously. So they come down. But looking down. There, right. I'm going to use this black too. Continue. And bring out the dark in the eye. Like I say, I'm not using any other colour other than the pupil. I'm also thinking about, am I making sure that I'm keeping the light? They will need darkening, definitely. But a little bit at a time. Then I don't lose that colour. Brown. Strengthen each time, just thinking about it a little bit more. So these keep their point quite nicely. And when you are using coloured pencils, you need to turn them as you're using them, because that will keep their point even more. But I won't need to sharpen these very much. Let's get that shadow on the top, and let's take away that very light sparkle, because even though I've got that light highlight, it's not always just that white colour. It's actually got a little bit of blue or grey. Okay, I'm just starting to darken now, a bit braver. Right, I'm going to leave that and just using my pencil, just bring out some areas which I know are going to be darkest, which is her nose. And her mouth. And I'm using the Pro colour for this because it won't rub. So it means that once I've got the line, it's going to stay before I put the charcoal on. And her lips are quite difficult because they're not very defined. I can just see her front teeth, which I may or may not put in, it depends. Don't want to give her a buck teeth look.
Make her a vampire.
Make her a vampire.
Make her a vampire, go on.
So I can alter this. So the thing about her lips is it's going to be the light areas on it, and because I'm going to be doing it in black, it's going to be, I'm just going to really have to show the different tones. Right, let's have a look, got 10 minutes. So let's start. I'm going to have to think about this because I'm just using the charcoal. Charcoal's a fabulous drawing, and you'll see I'm using it quite sketchily. I'm not having to really think about. So she's wearing a hat, which is a knitted, so you have all that detail if you wanted to. Here, the light shining on this, I can't see it that well. Okay. So the shape of her face. Now with children, their skin is very soft, but she does have some creases under her eyes which are interesting, but that makes it really nice to be able to add some value. I'm going to do it again quite gently, and I can always take it back. So I'm pushing the charcoal in. I use my fingers. The reason being is you can feel, you can shape. I won't do the other bits, I'm just... And if I've gone too far, I can take it back with the eraser. So I have an eraser. Normally, I don't use an eraser, especially in workshops, because people will just grab hold of this and then they will rub everything out. Oh, it's not right, and they'll rub it all out. And then you end up with nothing. But an eraser is a really great tool, especially for taking highlights out. So round her eye, she has that darkness here. And again, if I've gone to, need to, her eyelid shape comes around a little bit. Okay, so that looks quite harsh, but I can soften, I can lighten, I can darken. So it's a lot. She's not got very strong eyebrows yet. I'm just making a mark just so I can remember to put them on, because they're not a key feature in her face yet. She has, you've got to think her eyes are set back a little bit, so you're going to have that dark. And if it's not quite right, it's very easy to take back down. And with charcoal and portraits, you will manipulate, because charcoal, it will go in the wrong place. Right, her nose. So she's got a shadow here. She's got a little button nose. Go into charcoal pencil, see if I can have a little bit more control. My fingers are a bit too big for the very fine shading, but that's where you're... I don't want to make that too dark either, because actually looking at her, that is actually not the darkest area. I think I also need to alter the eye. Now I tend to jump around a bit as I see areas that I want to fix or alter, which is why, and I know I often mention it, is you walk away from a piece of work, you keep walking away, because as you come back to it, you kind of go, oh, yeah, I can see what needs altering, what doesn't.
You get a chance to do that today.
I know, I get a chance to come back. And I'm not over, I know there's darker areas and I'll come back to them. I just want to get a good, I've actually been really good. I managed to keep everything on one side, which is unusual. Usually I've leaned on everything. Red coat. And again, it doesn't overly matter about the creases in the coat. Right. Because you can bring those back. Right. It's nice, so dark under the nose. Obviously where the shadow is hitting. And down this side. So a lot of the drawing I'm doing using my fingers, which is really great for a face or a figure. And she has also have to exaggerate, which is why I've got the black and white image, because it can be a little flat with all the colour, and I don't want to get bogged down with the colour. It's the tonal values I'm looking for. Bit of a... Again, I've not quite got the detail on yet. I can do that as another... I leave the very dark areas till the end, because you can find that you do too much. Just trying to keep that nice round shape she has on her nose. It goes up. Again, if it's not quite there, I can alter it.
Anita?
Yes.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
From me.
Okay, Gary.
I saw that you've got the little chamois there.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what you use that for?
Well, instead of my fingers, to be honest. This is an artist chamois. This is synthetic, but it works very much like a leather chamois. And what you do is it enables you to save your fingers and get a really soft blend on the page. I've got it in case I wanted to use it, but I actually like to feel and touch what I'm doing, which is why I've always got dirty hands. But for me, I like to feel. But a big piece of work, if I'm rubbing onto it, I'll probably use something like that, because my fingers would be sore otherwise. What I'm also trying to do is not give myself a solid line, because that's not what I want. Right, another 5 or 10 minutes I think on this, and then we can come back to it in the next session. So it's not detailed yet. It's really, this is the bit I've been avoiding, to be honest, because it's a little bit more difficult. So the dark area is in her mouth here. She's got kind of a... more just looking at shapes, to be honest. Let's see. I know why I've not got a blender, but I can use that at the end. I'll put the colour on for that really fine detail, which is why I chose the charcoal pencil. So put light. And again, I'm thinking about the direction of her lips, which is important when I'm putting down the pencil. So just following, you'll see here she has creases in her mouth, in her lips. I'm just making sure that they're following, and all those little details help kind of form. So at the moment it's very flat, and I will start to build the darker tones. There's so many variants in her mouth, it's quite difficult. So, lips. Like I say, this is why I chose the charcoal pencil. So, So at the moment that top lip is very white, which it isn't. It's pink, but again, how do I... not make that too dark, but not keep it that white. Okay, white teeth there. I'm just going to blend those out so you can't see them fully. And like I say, it's going to be slight touches. And I'll keep touching it and altering it till the end when I know that I've got the right values. So none of this, I have to get a very light touch. So I'm going to go in with the eraser, even at this stage, so I can bring back the highlight. This is one of my favourites. This is the Tombow razor. It gives me that really nice, fine line. I'm just using what's on my finger just to darken inside the eye. Okay. I'm actually probably being a little bit too gentle and sensitive about areas, but it's easier to do that than it is to come back and have to alter the darker areas and lighten those. Just put in a line of colour because that's where the darkness is, and then moving it from there. You may need to alter the lip shape a little bit because it's not quite right, but that's why you constantly, each mark you make, you look at the original. The shadows on this side, again, they have this lovely rounded face. Might be a bit too messy, but easily solved.
Probably got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Is that?
This is one of my favourites as well. It's the kneadable eraser, but this one's really kneadable. And again, pick up that highlight on her cheek. She's got more of a highlight under here. So again, it's drawing. It's catching. Using this as a tool for drawing rather than erasing. I've chosen a cartridge paper with a little bit of tooth. I think her nose is wonky. I'll fix that by doing this. This is why it is good to walk away, because you will find you'll see these a little bit easier. Right, so I'm going to actually be a little less on this side. And it may be more sketchy or more detailed, just depends what time I have. So the darker areas are going to be under the hat. It's where it's sitting on the head. Again, bring it down. You think about where the shadow is dropping. I think you definitely put too much charcoal on, but I can take it back and lighten to later date. So shadow just around the eye here. Need to bring her eyelid back. And like I say, she hasn't actually, her eyebrows aren't very noticeable, but I want to make sure I don't forget them. She has a bit of light under her eye, and that needs fixing a little bit. But I don't want to lose some of that lightness, so I'm going to have to lighten this side a little bit. So to keep that lighter, I'm using the other side to darken. So a hat comes round. And she's got her hair. Which I can start to. At the moment, I'm just suggesting there's hair underneath, and it may not be exactly. You just have to be really light with the. Change the direction as well, so your hair isn't just here. Is going to be quite difficult because actually her hair's quite even and straight, but we're going to have to alter that a little bit. So it comes round her ear. Start to think about tonal values, darkening without putting too much. Don't like that, it's a bit too dark. Let's take it back. Great tool this. It's just so easy to lift.
We're getting close to our time.
Okay,
Then,
yeah. I can just keep going forever. So this is a two-part session, so that's the end of the first part. I can still see loads of areas I want to work on. So join us again at 2:45, and it's bye from me and it's bye from the audience.